A former world number one tennis player, one of only 8 gentlemen to win the men's singles career Grand Slam, 8-time Grand Slam winner, and a GOAT in his own right, here courtesy of Lavazza, the global Italian coffee company and official U.S. Open sponsor, none other than Andre Agassi. How are you, sir?
Hey, Rich, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
It's been a long time since we have chatted. So, what is life like for you? Give me a picture of the Andre Agassi life day.
I'm happy. We'll start with that.
That's good.
I'm happy. I'm good. Yeah, it's been interesting. Journey last 5 years. Figured out some ways to scale my mission in Vegas. I started with my own school and economically challenged area, and now I've figured out a way to scalably and sustainably make greater, change, and built about 83 schools over the last 4.5, 5 years across the country. So it's been challenging, but rewarding, sort of solving for the daunting societal issues.
Yeah, what did you think of LeBron opening his school in Akron?
Listen, I think it's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's never enough. It's never enough. I mean, everybody needs to partake in our future and give them a platform for future of their choosing. It's just that to not is a crime, and it's been my passion, and it's great to see him caring about it.
Yeah, why did you choose that, Andre?
I mean, I don't know if he played psychologist on myself here. I guess I would say my lack of education was a big reason for it. I mean, I didn't have choice in my life. It was tennis since I was born. My father kind of chose that for me, and you start to recognize at some point that there are kids out there that really don't have choice, and it doesn't mean being the best in the world at a sport. It means an environment that they can't break out of, and a cycle of activity that doesn't add to our world. So if you could just give those kids a chance to kind of break that downward spiral, that there's just a tremendous amount of reward in that. And then it was responsible for the second half of my career, and I'm certainly indebted to it, and it gives me more than I give it, and a hell of a reason to wake up every day.
Yeah, I bet. So have your kids not picked up a racket at all? Are you not exposing them to that world in a way, Andre?
Well, they're not much kids anymore. They're almost 17 and 15, 16 and 14 currently. And, my son is baseball, has been that since he's been, 6 years old. So, my daughter was hip-hop dance for a lot of years, and now she's 14, going on 15-year-old, teenager. So probably enough said as it relates to the challenges that those intersections bring. But it's it's kind of a blessed life watching them not knowing what they're in for. So the answer is no. We weren't motivated to necessarily introduce them to tennis. Didn't feel compelled to do so, and they certainly didn't choose it as they had plenty of options for their own life. And we just hold them accountable to what they claim they value and make sure that they're living it.
Okay, so what sort of ball player do you have there in your son, Andre Agassi?
I mean, I could just tell you, it's like whether he was a commit to USC as a freshman in high school. He's a junior now. He's a two-way player, third base pitcher. He has a chance at his dreams. I mean, it's not like tennis where you eat what you kill. So other people have to think so in the sport, and he'll figure it out along the way. But he's doing it for himself.
So what did you say? It's not like tennis? You said eat what you kill? Is that what you said about tennis?
Yeah. Okay. What I mean by that is if you can win, nobody can stop you. It doesn't matter if they like you. It doesn't matter if they think your game is good or they think you're not good. You get out there and get the job done, and you move forward. I mean, other team sports don't always have that luxury. People need to invest in you. People need to believe in you. People need to give you the opportunity, and then you got to make the most of the opportunity. So it's a different animal, but not quite the same.
Okay, so Jaden is touching what on the gun if he's a freshman commit to USC, Andre?
He hit 93 this summer, and plugging along. He's a big boy. He's kind of gotten some genes from somewhere. I don't know. Maybe Maybe there's a lot Steph hasn't told me. I'm not sure,
But she's still not touching your serve on the gun. Essentially, is what you're
but
saying.
no, if he picked up a racket and I gave him a week, that wouldn't be an issue. Hitting something is not.
Okay.
Is not his issue.
Okay. Andre Agassi here on the Rich Eisen show. So how plugged into you, I guess, did you watch, say, Nadal last night, which went to, I guess, 11 o'clock Las Vegas time? I mean, did you?
Yeah. No, I did. It was epic. It was memorable. It was two warriors, going at it. It was everything that makes me so thankful. I get to watch it now instead of deal with it.
Well, I mean, what do you like watching this? I mean, are you sitting there with your wife, with Steffi, and just watching tennis? And what do you talk about when you watch a match like, say, last night that went almost 5 hours?
Well, as is, we're not sitting together necessarily watching that match. I mean, I was in New York last night. I made it here, in enough time to kind of settle into that match. But for me, it's all tennis is problem solving. So it doesn't take long, especially when you know the guys. I mean, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and how the matchups really are going to play out. I mean, I called an epic match that Nadal was going to win before it started, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And you kind of watch everybody make their little adjustments out there, their story in real time. And if I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy watching, Nadal solve for, an ass beating in the first set. I enjoy watching team make the adjustment to that. I enjoy watching, how they handle some of those big moments and how they don't treat those big moments any differently than they may treat, other moments in the match. So there's a lot to take in there when you've done it.
So what's the toughest match you ever played then, Andre Agassi?
Getting my wife to say yes. That was as hard as it gets. That was as hard as
Did you get your ass beaten in the first set of that one?
Oh, I was down 2 sets in a break. Are you kidding? I mean, I came out of the grave to pull that one out.
So that love match, I got it. But I guess a tennis match, Andre, an actual competition.
Yeah. So you can say a person, who typically presented the challenges, or you could say in hindsight, this match was the toughest, and winning, losing, right? So I have my list of which match cost me the most in my heart and mind, which match gave me the most in my heart and mind. And when it comes to the latter, it was the French Open, the last of the 4 Grand Slams, being down 2 sets to love in the finals, a microcosm of my life, and then figuring out a way to get over the finish line. And when you talk about matches that kind of ripped my heart out, I'll never forget the '95, U.S. Open final where I was 26-0 going into the final and wasn't quite good enough on the day, and I was 26-1 when that summer ended, and I wish I would have given away 25 other matches that summer just to have won that one. So you just, there's a flood of memories, and when you play 1,200-1,400 matches in your life, it seems like you remember sometimes every one.
Well, a couple more minutes left with Andre Agassi here on the Rich Eisen show. So much conversation these days, not about Serena's tennis, unfortunately, about her garb, her choice of garb, and it seems that the Parisians will not let her wear her catsuit because it's disrespectful. You had some years about your garb in your playing career in Wimbledon, etc. So I'd love to ask you, what do you think of this whole, if you will, set to with Serena Williams' choice of tennis wear?
Well, listen, she's a hell of an athlete, and to me, when she wears stuff like that, it just shows more of what an athlete she is, and it's not a big deal to me personally, but I remember playing in Paris, and at the time, the president of the federation had an issue with what I wore and suggested that they should move to the Wimbledon kind of dress code, and my comment at the time was, if you want to move to the Wimbledon dress code, then move to the Wimbledon, no sponsorships on the court deal too. So as a business, you have to make a decision, and would I make the same decision? I would not. Serena wearing a catsuit, as far as I'm concerned, helps my business, and So it all depends what your perspective is. The tradition of a game, morphs and changes over the years, and one can always argue if a change is good or not. Playing the Open semifinals on a Saturday followed by Sunday, now giving the guys a day off, puts an asterisk next to every other champion that's ever played this game. So, when you make these decisions, you can't make them in a vacuum. You have to really consider it in context of not just where the sport's been, but where you also want it to go. And I suppose they have the right to do it, but I would understand, Serena's right to wear what she wants.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Just Do It campaign, since it's so many people are talking about it, the 30th anniversary of it. Colin Kaepernick is the choice of Nike to be the face of it. What do you, as a former face of that campaign, think of Kaepernick's choice?
Well, you mean Nike's choice?
Yes, Nike's choice, correct. Of Kaepernick.
Listen, Nike has proven that they are the best in the world when it comes to, being on the cutting edge of where that company wants to go. They have a clear vision and purpose in mind, and sometimes over the years it's been just for the sake of controversy. So I don't know what's happening in those boardrooms, and I don't know the reasons for any choices they make. I think that Kaepernick should probably feel pretty good that he's associated with a company like Nike. Now, should Nike feel the same? Apparently, they do. So we'll see how that plays out in the American lens, but it's not something I can comment on when I don't understand what their objective is.
And you are, however, on behalf of Lavazza, joining us on the show today, the coffee company from Italy that's the official U.S. Open sponsor. What are you doing with them, Andre Agassi?
Yeah, so we've been together for a handful of years, and Lavazza has been obviously a company, family business for well over 100 years, and they've now gotten into tennis on a comprehensive level, and supporting supporting the game has been a reward for me in and of itself, being that the game has given me a platform in my life, given also the fact of their values as a company and what they've done and continue to do on behalf of my foundation and my work and efforts in the community and back home. This has been a relationship with two brands that have spent a great deal of time and pride in building, who and what they are, coming together to have multiple people be winners as a result. And I consider it to be, thousands of children's lives. So it's a win across the board. And I drink the coffee and I enjoy the coffee, and now I just kind of get it free on top of it.
And there's a couple.
How can I complain?
There's a couple of Lavazza cafes at the U.S. Open this week. I'm assuming you had to hit one of them to stay awake for last night's match, ending at 2:00 something in the morning.
Yeah, I did. I started when I saw Nadal get his teeth into the match was the first cup, and then when they moved into the fifth set, I started kind of backing off the caffeine because all good things have to come to an end. And now, thank goodness, the U.S. Open has the sense to have tiebreakers in the fifth, or God forbid we found ourselves in a battle that's going to determine the next match winner before it even begins. So it's one of the reasons why I believe tiebreakers should be implemented. If you don't know who's won a match by 6-all in the fifth, guess what? Let's go home and flip a coin.
Well, I don't know if you're aware. I guess a quick trivia question for you. Do you know what your longest match of your career was?
I can tell you kind of score lines, but I never paid attention to the clock because I was only interested in the wear and tear that my opponent was feeling or wasn't feeling. So I played as deep as 9-7 in the fifth. But from actual time perspective, I would not know. No.
Well, I have an answer for you. It's a 5-setter that stretched from Thursday into a Friday at the U.S. Open in 2006 against Marcos Bagdatis. In that one, you took him out in 5.
Oh, yeah. That was the longest match, actually, technically. Yeah. I know obviously the match well. I played Blake 7-6 in the fifth as well, and I've had many that have gone the distance, but But from a time perspective, you never quite know the rhythm that guys are playing at and how long it lasts.
I can't even imagine what is it like to sleep on knowing that you have a match that's open, that you already just shot. I mean, you must be going over shots in your head. How do you even get to sleep over something like that?
Before, after, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, just when you have to go from a Thursday into a Friday with a match still alive. That's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Well, you mean Thursday to Friday because we're playing past midnight, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So we're playing past midnight. I mean, I don't turn into a pumpkin past midnight.
Oh,
I mean,
I see.
I'm still a tennis player.
All right, that's true. Hey, Andre, it's great to chat with you, man. Really, I've missed the chats, and certainly if you're in Los Angeles, I'd love to have you in here.
Hey, congrats on everything. It was great to hear your voice again.
Thank you. Same to you. That's Andre Agassi, Hall of Famer.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.